Welcome back to Mac Talks of Football. In this video, we are gonna look back and we are gonna react to the predictions I made at the start of the season for League 124-25, and we're gonna see how many of those predictions came true and how many of them I got completely wrong. We are gonna do this points based. For example, like if I predicted Marseille to finish fifth and they ended up finishing second, I'm gonna get 3 points, and the same vice versa. For example, if I predicted Lens to finish 8 and they ended up finishing 15 or 16, for example, so then I'm going to accumulate 7 points or 8 points as well, and in the end we're going to see how many points I can get. The main task is here is to to accumulate as less points as possible. It means my predictions were more accurate than instead of being completely wrong. I would be very happy if the total number of points is around between 30 to 40. If I get that, I'll be very happy. Above 40 it's okayish. I would say between 40 to 50 I would still be okay with it, not really that good. But if anything above 50, I mean it is a disaster. And if I ended up getting less than 30, that means I've been spectacular. So let's go ahead and start. At number 18 I went with Onjor. They ended up finishing 14, so they had a much better season than I anticipated. So I get 4 points already. The thing is, I thought coming up I really did not think Onjor had that much in their squad. I did not the talent, and then maybe the main thing that I was worried about was the experience. I really did not think that they had that much experience to fight it out in a Liga, and I really thought they were gonna go straight back down to a League 2, which ended up being quite wrong. They had quite a rough start. The first 8 match days they were not really able to win any games. They were winless for the first 8 games, but they started winning games from match day 9, and then they started to have a really good season. In fact, after match day 14 they never went back into those relegation places. They hovered around it. They were like 14, 15, 13. That was their basically sports where they went, but they never really went back in the relegation zone. So that is a really good thing. So they ended up being a really good first season for Onjor back in Liga, as they ended up finishing 14th. Up next, it was Ligue. I went with Ligue as 17. They ended up finishing 15th. But to be very honest with you, I was really close with this prediction. If I'm being very honest with you, I mean they spent about there were only 9 match days where they were not in that relegation zone. Apart from that, they were always in that relegation zone, and it felt that they might end up getting relegated. The last 4 match days basically saved them. I mean 2 wins, and although they accumulated 7 points, and they got out of the relegation zone on the last match day. So that just shows how lucky they were in the end. Apart from that, they really had a terrible season, and my prediction, I would say, like, just 2 points off. I'm really happy with that. I said and I think they are lucky in a way that they ended up being safe, and they did not have to play that relegation promotion player final, and I ended up getting the 2 points. Then it was Saint Etienne. I thought they were going to finish at 16th. They ended up finishing 17th. I sort of gave them a chance, but they really did not, they give themselves a chance. They ended up being relegated, directly. Another 1 point, but as I said, I thought they were not going to have a good season there. The squad was not there. There was no investment in the squad. It just felt off from the get-go for Saint Etienne, and I thought that they were gonna suffer, and in the end they suffered as well. And unfortunately for them, they were not really able to do anything substantial in the season, and unfortunately they are relegated. Then on 15th I went with Auxerre. They ended up finishing 11th. They had a really good season. I said it in my prediction video as well. I thought that the teams around them, even though they were one of the promoted teams, I still felt like the investment that they had, the transfer window that they had last season, it was quite good, and I thought they would be quite safe. They ended up having a great season in my opinion, finishing 11th, and there was one moment in time around January, February where they were in around 7th, and there were talks about maybe they are going to surprise everyone and end up qualifying for Europe. They had quite a bad end to the season. That's why they dropped down to 11th. But overall, I mean, if you are a promoted team and you end up finishing 11th in your first season, I mean that is a really good thing for them. And I end up getting 4 points, but I think a great season for Auxerre. Up next, the team that really surprised me, and the one team that completely my prediction went wrong was Strasbourg. I went for 14th. They ended up finishing 7th. I mean, what a story for Strasbourg. The way that they went with it. I mean, the money that they spent. I say the players that they are bringing in, they are all very young. They could turn out to be really great. The stuff with Patrick Vieira at the start of the season, then Liam Rosenior coming in. I mean, it was a really weird start to the season. Weird summer for Strasbourg. They gave confidence to their young players, and the young players ended up replying back with their confidence and having a great season. Unfortunately, the end of the season, the last 2-3 weeks were not really good. Otherwise, they could have qualified for the Champions League. But I would say still playing in the Conference League next season, it was an amazing season for Strasbourg, and they would be really happy, and they would hope that they can kick on from next season. So my worst prediction this year was Strasbourg, but to be very honest, I'm not that bothered about it. I mean, if it's a worst prediction comes out, if a team does bad, then you feel a bit sad, but if a team does really well, it doesn't really matter. 13th, I went with Montpellier. They of course ended up being at 18th and ended up getting relegated. Another 5 points, but I mean, from where to start for Montpellier? I could not have believed that Montpellier are going to have such a bad season. It was dreadful from the get-go, from the start of the season. The manager appointments at the start of the season were wrong, and then they sacked the manager. Then the manager appointments between the season as well. It was, to be very honest, it was a complete shit show from Montpellier this season, and unfortunately for the fans, they did not deserve this, but for the team management, for the ownership, I mean, they all deserved it. They all deserve that. They all deserve to go down, and I hope that they can come back up, because former French champions, you don't really expect a club with the stature of Montpellier to behave like that, but it was quite a dreadful season. Moving up, I went with Nantes at 12. They ended up finishing 13th. I mean, nothing spectacular from Nantes. I expected a mid-table season from them, and they went with that. There was a bit of a fear where they might have there was a fear that they might end up getting relegated, but somehow at the end they ended up being safe. So that's another 1 point for me. At 11, I went with Toulouse. They ended up finishing at 10th. So again, a point added for me. I mean, it is basically the same thing. Just like Nantes, I expected a mid-table finish. They were really good at some part of the season, and some parts of the season they were absolutely dreadful. So a mid-table finish is satisfactory for them. Number 10, I mean, that this is the one that really shocked me. Reims, I thought they were going to have a good season. I said they are going to be in Europe, so that might distract them, but I did not think it is going to distract them so much. I predicted them to finish 10th. They ended up finishing 16th. And that was bad enough that they were in that relegation promotion playoff, but the worst thing for them, they ended up getting relegated in that relegation promotion playoff as well. So they are not going to be in a Liga the next season. I mean, they had a weird season as well. Their start was good, then they kept on going down, and they were not really able to recover from the defeats, and they were just not really able to pull themselves together and get back into the mix, into the safety zone. Unfortunately, Reims, they got relegated. And I this is my second worst prediction after Strasbourg. I get 6 points. Number 9, I went with Brest, and Brest ended up finishing on 9. I mean, this is the first prediction where I have actually gotten it 100% accurate. I thought Brest is were going to suffer a bit because they were in Europe. They played in the Champions League. It was going to take a toll on them. They scored already. They had lost important players, and then the ones that they brought in, they needed a time to gel with the squad. But I still thought they really they did really good. I mean, a top 10 finish is not a really bad a bad performance from Brest, to be very honest with you. A lot of people thought they were going to do even worse, but so in my opinion, I mean, they would be really happy finishing at 9th. Number 8, I went with Rennes. They ended up finishing at 12th. I mean, to be very honest, it is quite a disappointing season in my opinion for Rennes. I thought they were going to have a tussle with other teams for those European places, and I thought they were just going to miss out. Unfortunately, they were not really in it, to be very honest with you, and they had quite a bad season in my opinion. I mean, not being able to finish in a top 10 when majority of the people thought they might end up trying to qualify for Europe. That is quite a bad season, and it just never picked up for Rennes. You thought a couple of match days they were really good, and you thought maybe Rennes are starting to pick up, but then they would go away and it would quite basically give away points and make a silly mistake that costed them points, and that is why they ended up going out of the top 10 as well. Number 7, I went with Lens. They ended up finishing 8th again. Just a one place difference. I'm not that mad. I mean, Lens, they could have, as I said, at the end of the season, from 3rd to 7th, it was from 3rd to 8th, it was anybody's game. So all of these teams now that are gonna come in, it is gonna be like 1 or 2 places here or there, because it was so tight between all of them for those European places. I think Lens had a really good season. They're just unlucky that they were just not able to get into those European places. Otherwise, I think they had a really good season, and they would be a bit disappointed that they couldn't make Europe. But I would say that they can hope that the next season might be much better, and they might qualify for Europe next season. Number 6, I went for Monaco. They ended up finishing 3rd. I mean, that was a unsurprising one. Even when I made the prediction, I thought maybe I'm not giving Monaco enough credit, and in the end it ended up being like that. I just thought they were back in the Champions League after so long, after a gap of about 4 years. They were back in Europe. I thought it was going to take a toll on them, and it did, to be very honest with you. If you look back at the season, whenever they were in Europe and they had to play back, they dropped points, but still, I mean, in comparison to the other teams, they still played better. And as I said, at the end, in the last few weeks, they could have easily ended up being at 8th as well. So again, I'm going to say that now I'm not really that worried. Of course, I get about 3 points added to my calculations, but still, I would say it is quite a good prediction in my opinion. Number 5, I went with Nice. They ended up finishing 4th. Again, 1 point. They did better than I thought they would. One place better. They ended up qualifying for those Champions League places. It was quite hard at the end. It was quite close, but I would still say it was a really good season, where I thought they were going to end up in the Europa League. They have a chance to play in the Champions League next season, so Nice are going to be really happy about it. Number 4, I went with Lyon. This is the one that I'm really surprised. I thought Lyon had a really good transfer window. That is why I thought they were going to end up in that Champions League places. I thought around the teams around them, out of all of them, they had a great transfer window, and the players that they have, the squad that they have, they should have really fought hard. Their season was weird, to be very honest with you. The start of the season was not really good. They peaked in the middle. In the end, they start they drilled quite badly, and that is why they ended up missing out on those Champions League places. And number 3, I went with Marseille. They ended up finishing 2nd. I mean, Marseille came the closest to challenge PSG for the title, but again, I said their transfer window was really good. The manager, I mean, Robert De Zerbi, I knew it was going to be a really good season for Marseille, and I think Marseille fans would be really happy. They are going to be in the Champions League next season, so that is going to be a huge advantage for them as well. And I think next season they might go even closer to a PSG than they were this season. Number 2, I mean, this one again, I was quite surprised. I went with Lille. I thought they were going to really challenge PSG, but it was not a really good season. I mean, the 2 teams that really disappointed me, to be very honest with you, apart from Montpellier, are Lille and Lyon. I really thought it was going to be a 3-way tussle. I said at the start of the season, it might, in a 4-way tussle, I said that it was not going to be that easy for PSG, but Lille really disappointing. I mean, with the players that they have and the talent they have in their squad, and if you look at the matches that Lille played there this season, there were so many games where they could have easily won the games. They threw the points away, and that is why they ended up finishing in the 5th position. And of course, number 1, I went with PSG, and PSG ended up winning the league. I mean, I said it at the start of the season, it was not going to be that easy, and for the majority part of the season, it did not look like that PSG were going to have a smooth sailing for the title. After January, February, that's when Monaco and Marseille really started to drop off, and PSG just after getting past in the group stages from in the Champions League, I mean, that's really where PSG peaked, to be very honest with you, and they just did not look back. I mean, and the end of the season that PSG had, winning everything there was, I mean, it was a really spectacular season for them, and yeah. So of course I don't get any points, and if my calculations are correct, that's what I'm gonna do. It is around 44 points that I have accumulated. I might be wrong. Let me double check. 4, 6, 7, 10, 11, 15. 46. So it is not really that good. It is in a way, I'm not really that happy, to be very honest with you. It is 46 points. It's not that bad. It is not that good as well. It is just in the middle. I would say Strasbourg and Montpellier are the two main culprits that have really, I mean, skewed the points. And Montpellier and Rennes, Montpellier, and Strasbourg. I mean, those are the three teams that I really got wrong in terms of where I thought they were going to finish. Apart from that, I think I did pretty good in my opinion, but still 46 points is not that good in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. This was my reaction to my prediction. I'm going to do my reaction to all the other leagues that I have predicted, the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga, Premier League. I made predictions for all of them, just like League One, and I'm gonna release them in the reactions to those videos, to those predictions in the coming days as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of my predictions in the comment section below. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 600 subscribers before the end of July, so please go ahead and subscribe and help the channel out. Until next time, bye bye.